Welcome, friends, to Reality Test. What is reality testing, you may ask? Well, it's something we all do every day, maybe with our loved ones over dinner, with coworkers at the water cooler, etc., when we check our subjective or personal emotions, thoughts, and so forth against objective or sort of more agreed upon fact-based reality. Although, because Dr. Ray and I, Dr. Kay, are social constructionists, we don't actually believe there's one true objective reality, but rather our own personal versions of it constructed in the context of relationships. But you get the idea. So here in Reality Test, we're going to be testing the castmate realities and the producer antics of our favorite reality TV shows against what we know as licensed psychologists about the reality out here, off of our TVs. We hope you'll join us as we attempt to reality test. That's it. Thanks, y'all. Now check out our campy theme song.
Are you feeling stressed? Your head's all messed? Well, let's forget all the rest. Fuck it, we're blessed, because it's time to talk reality test. Come with us. Let's reality test. Welcome to Reality Test. I'm Dr. Ray.
And I'm Dr. Kay. Feel free to check in and take a seat wherever you like. I got to start right off with some ownership that we just recorded 11 minutes of this podcast. And then I was like, oh, I've just noticed that my recording device does not have lines on it showing that I'm talking. So thank you to Dr. Ray for patience and also just like undying sweetness, because that was rough. But at least it's 11 minutes.
Hey.
We can do that. Yeah.
That's right. And I've done it before for a whole episode. Let us not forget, I deleted a whole episode and we had to do it all the way over.
We did.
Friends, if you can figure out what episode it was, but like if our points seem practiced, it's because they were. But it was just one time.
Just one time. Early days, too. So you have to have the archive. That's a good reason to go back to archive, though. Kind of fun. Kind of fun, like detective-y work. Yeah, no, that was fun, though. I didn't even really mind it. It was good. Also, I think we were able to like incorporate something new because of the time that had passed during that. So there was a benefit. Yeah.
That's true. Yes, the positive reframe.
Exactly.
And while not much time has passed now, we're going to find a way to make this work for ourselves.
Yes, exactly. Because now, right, like I was saying too, it's like now I know the points I was going to make. I can be a little bit like faster about it. And also, I'm going to remember right up front this time, we are therapists, but not your therapist, although we adore you and you'd be welcome to be our clients if we didn't already talk to you in this way. If you didn't know us from this, then we could meet you as our clients and we'd love that. But because we were talking to you one-sided, obviously, we don't want to give you the misconception that we are giving you treatment of any kind. In addition, we're not giving treatment of any kind to the people about whom we speak. We don't know them. We have not met with them individually, and therefore cannot diagnose them or talk about their, mental health beyond speculating, pure speculation, and just like wondering together, and only in the kindest of ways.
Yes, exactly. Mostly the kindest of ways. Sometimes I feel a little shady about people, but we try to be kind.
I kind of like that. I think you do that a little bit more. And sometimes I'm like, and then I'm like, no, I kind of like it. It's like, I think I'm learning from you a little bit about that too. It's like, there's times though, although I also can like rant also. Typically, I will say it's about cis hetero men and some choices that are being made that just like really, as the people in the most power, like that is the most powerful group. I feel like it's good that we voice some of our concerns about that, because that's the only way we're going to get some change in this world. Voice our discontent.
Yes, we are the vocalists of our discontent. Speaking of discontent, yes. I can speak words. Sutton, she's someone to have some discontent about.
Serious discontent.
And
yes, we're talking about the third part of the reunion of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, season 14. And we talked about parts 1 and 2. And go back and listen to that if you haven't, because we are continuing the arc of talking about why I think Garcelle is upset. So definitely find the backstory, because some of this will make more sense that way. But we're excited. We're going back to Beverly Hills, and we're starting right off with Dr. Ray talking about Sutton at the beginning.
Indeed. So, and this is all fascinating. But Sutton finally got her focus. I'm sure she's very happy. Garcelle is asked by Andy, I believe, if she thinks Sutton brings down women in distress. And Garcelle, in kind of a distant way, says, it looks like that. Yeah. And Sutton was clearly annoyed because she's used to Garcelle, like, really helping her out. And then Garcelle added, it depends on who too. And I think it kind of goes back to if like earlier in the season when something happened and Sutton didn't stand up for Garcelle with like Kyle or something. And Garcelle, I think, was feeling really annoyed because Garcelle always stands up for Sutton, even though she maybe doesn't always deserve it. And I think she's just like tired.
Right. And I think sometimes Garcelle doesn't even agree with it. Like she'll agree with it because it's Sutton, but she doesn't actually think it. You know, I've seen that happen at times where she sort of is like, well, yeah, I think so. Like, even though it's like, no, you don't. You definitely know better. She definitely is not deserving of that, but she can't help it. She's an ally. And I think that kind of allyship calls for allyship back from the other person, and that Sutton doesn't give it is like a real betrayal. I think, and also we had said this the first time, but this is also like the first sign that Garcelle is taking it seriously, that Sutton hasn't had her back during the reunion so far. Like, if she's just getting totally hammered, Sutton isn't taking her side, and Sutton's making it about herself. So Garcelle finally is just like, whatever, then fine, I'll stop.
I'm done. Yep. Mm-hmm. And then Andy says to Garcelle, do you feel like people are piling on Sutton? And she goes, I'm thinking about me.
Yes.
So she's just in a totally different headspace right now.
Mm-hmm. Not about Sutton anymore. She's defending herself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Sutton brings the attention back to herself. And then Andy asks, Garcelle, you were steaming over there, and I wonder if you want to say what's pissing you off so much. Which, now that I'm like, Andy, maybe you should. It's almost a little like angry black woman language.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know.
And also, just to say, too, because I didn't put this in notes, there was time that passed in between that. It's just that was the more interesting stuff. Like, the stuff about Sutton, I was just sort of like, whatever. But then, yeah, so Garcelle was upset, noticeably upset for good reason. And so then he brings it back. But I agree. The steaming and the saying pissed, it's sort of like, why don't you just say, like, you look upset? You know?
Yeah. Like, what's going on for you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this, we can take the emotional words out of it.
Yeah.
But Garcelle says, I don't think I get any grace in this group. We talked about accountability, which is, as you mentioned earlier, Bose's language. So she is like focused on what Bose said.
Yep.
I stand by the things I say, and it's not accepted. Not one person here looked at me and smiled when we first got here, but nothing else.
Yeah.
And then Kyle said, but everyone's stressed coming here, and that's why no one smiled at you. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
No, totally. I was just going to say that, yeah, exactly. Like, this was the moment where I was like, okay, it definitely is about Bose, because the accountability language, and that, like, feeling like it's not fair that Bose is complimenting Sutton when Garcelle's like, I took up about the fact that I said that about Dorit and the setup being the house robbery being a setup. And I think the thing that is a bummer is, like, I get why Bose wouldn't like praise Garcelle on that one thing, because Bose like deeply has Dorit back on that one thing. So I feel like for Garcelle, that's like, I both understand what Garcelle's saying, but I also feel like you're like, that was just the wrong topic for you to be praised about it. And as I said in the first half, I also think that Bose is sort of holding Garcelle to a higher standard, where she's like, you do know about our accountability, so I don't need to say that. I don't need to reaffirm it for you. But for Garcelle to like feel like, okay, the racist person that like, and like that you didn't really get along with, you're like affirming her, but like you're not affirming me. Like, yeah. Feels shitty.
You're affirming the shit out of her, and she can be really shitty. Mm-hmm, like, both are true about our friend Dorit.
Yeah. Oh, well, and I was talking about Sutton too, but yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, both.
Yes. Both racist.
Mm-hmm.
And then Garcelle and Sutton talk on the side during the commercial, and Sutton says, you're like, I'm not answering any more cues. And Garcelle goes, no, I hate them all. And Sutton says, they all hate me. So doesn't even ask, like, why? Or, like, just totally brings it back to herself, which, come on.
So hard to see. So hard to see. And just, by the way, just because the listener can't see the, like, cues meaning, like, questions, not like cues, like CUEs or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing I was just going to say is that I just to, like, really quick go back to that, like, after Kyle or whoever said everybody's stressed coming out, so I'm not smiling. It's like, Garcelle, oh, yeah, and I want to bring up, too, I think she meant that about the smiling thing, because I do actually really care about that. But Garcelle continues, like, because she just says, like, well, it's just how I'm feeling. And then she goes, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Which I just hate that, because she's, like, being dismissive of it, but, like, not really. Like, she obviously low-key wants someone to care about it. You know, and so like no one does, they don't take it up. Like, so she's like, fine, it's fine, you know. And I just wanted to be like, oh, it's not fine, I'm so sorry. But the other thing I was going to say is people really came back to the idea of like, even at the end of this episode where it's like, oh my gosh, of course we're not smiling. Like, we're here. It's stressful. It's like, I don't think it's that. Like, I don't think it's like, I think personally it's more about, again, Bose, like not smiling when Garcelle might be looking at Bose. And so like, again, it's that piece about from the first episode we did on this, where it's like, there's this underlying thing between Bose and Garcelle where they both have experiences as Black women, but they also both have this unspoken unspoken like thing between them that they can like quickly fall into their own way of talking with each other that they can't another way. So like I could see Garcelle thinking, yeah, sure, like we can be here and both be like in our game hats or whatever, wearing our game hats. But like if I smile at you and we're acknowledging something together, like that would be like a way of us showing that we're both still on good ground. And so if Bose isn't doing that would be another reason Garcelle feels dropped by Bose and like worries that, you know, she's not being affirmed. And I think also to that point, like that would make it a micro invalidation if Garcelle were looking to Bose during a microaggression. So like if something happens a little bit racist, or like if a microaggression where it's like unintended but very much a slight, and you know, for example, a complimenting person of color for being eloquent as if that's a surprise, that's a microaggression. It was meant as a compliment, but it's very much racist. So in that moment, if then someone goes, the person who that was about goes to someone else and says, wasn't that racist? They were surprised it was eloquent. And that other person goes, oh, no, you're just being sensitive. That's a micro invalidation. So it's like the extra insult. And so for Garcelle to like look, I could imagine her looking to Bose at some points when something racist might happen and just sort of being like this is one of those things or whatever. And if she does that and then Bose doesn't acknowledge or smile back, that would be like an extra really like upsetting version of not being affirmed, like including about a microaggression. So I could see if any of those dynamics happened there between the two of them, that would be something that would stick in her craw and like would be worth bringing up as sort of like no one's like looking to me at all, you know, like no one's smiling, no one's like. And I think there's, of course, like there are moments that these women all know about that we don't. So like there's moments that they're on camera. They can't say out loud, this is another thing where Andy's asking an inflammatory question. They can't say like, oh, here's another thing the producer said earlier that like is coming back up into the room. They can't say those things. So they have to look to each other, get those moments of eye contact, get those moments of like little subtle smiles as a way of like, that's like us connecting. And I think everyone does it. So I think that's why Garcelle's like, why am I not getting those moments? You know, like no one thinks to look to me to sort of be like, that's one of those things. Like if you think about class, like students do it all class, right? All through class. It's like, we got to be able to like look to each other. And for the students have to be able to look to each other and just sort of be like, one of those things, because they can't say it, you know? And so I feel like that must happen during reunions. And that is something we don't know as a viewer. And so like we wouldn't know that that's what she means. And I feel like that's tough. That then what we hear instead by the producers' points, because the producers made these decisions, what we hear as a response to that instead is people like Kyle being like, well, we're just stressed. So then the audience is like, right, they're just stressed. Of course they're not smiling. It's like, no, it doesn't matter. You know, if it's like a way of like having a little moment during the thing that they can't say out loud, then that's a huge deal.
Mm-hmm. And she was looking for that from Bose.
Yeah, exactly. At least. Exactly.
Yeah. And then after the commercial, Jennifer Tilly is asked in regards to Garcelle's famous list of lovers if she has any. She said, I wish I had slept with more above the name actors, but I slept with squishy comedians. I like the squishy comedians. I didn't like the way Erica talked about Garcelle's like list of people she slept with. It just, it didn't feel, it felt like very shady and unfair to her. But yeah.
Yes, so unfair. It feels like she's sort of like aging her or something, because she keeps saying things like, well, why aren't you with any of them now? Or like, why didn't it work with them? Like, it's sort of, it's like, who do you have lately? And Garcelle's like, I don't know. I like went on a date with one person. Like, she's very open about it too, actually. But she's like, I went on a date with one person. It didn't work out. Like, enough said, Yeah. But yeah, the way that Erica comes for it. And then also like behind the scenes, like direct to camera, it's just too much. It's none of your business.
Yeah. None of your damn business, Erica.
None of it. So now we're looking at Erica's turn. She's next. So Andy brings up that she had another successful turn at Chicago. And she says, well, it was unfinished business because of what happened with Tom, which, by the way, I was not even fully aware of. But that must have been why Ariana Maddox was on it for a while, was because Erica was brought off because of Tom. Yeah. Whoa, another Tom. I didn't even think about that. Dude.
Whoa, that's weird.
That is fucking trippy. Tom Sandoval.
Toms.
Tom Sandoval, Tom Girardi. If anyone doesn't know, Ariana Maddox was cheated on very famously by Tom Sandoval. So at the time, Erica was sort of like, I think basically like Andy said something like, were you worried you weren't going to be able to finish it? And Erica was like, well, I was worried about getting through each day, which is like a great point. And then she said, she brought up the relationship with her son and how they're much closer than ever. She said, if that's what it took to strengthen my relationship with my son, though, great. It was worth it. And I thought that was really nice.
I agree.
Yeah, it's really sweet. This next one I have a segment for, which you might too. Cool. So this next one, Andy says to Erica, he's like, I love your therapist. He said, she teaches you about empathy, and then she tells you that this wasn't a pizza party behavior, not pizza party behavior. So obviously this is like when therapy was mentioned.
Yes, I forgot to do this segment, so I will tag on because it was mentioned, so sorry.
Yeah, no, it's so, yeah, no, it makes total sense. It was the only time it was really mentioned too, so I feel like it would be both of ours for sure. And what I liked about it was not what he said, but what she said in response, which both showed integration of the therapy itself and also like, her own growth in general, both for therapeutic reasons and because I think Erica's growing. So she reflects for us. She says, these women have known me married and holding up crumbling walls, and then going through a dark period where I was mad, drinking, acting a fool, and being mean to everybody. But now you've seen me emerge, and it's my nature to be more this way than how I was as a vicious on-guard animal. Whoa. That's interesting too, though. As a vicious on-guard animal. And yeah, right? Because there was a little bit of that. As a vicious on-guard animal. And I loved that. I was like, great point. And I think that's probably some imagery she got from her therapist. And I think it's also like a really great reclaiming of her life. And I think that's really nice. I also have to agree because how she was before that happened also was not like that. It was a very like distinct period of time where she was like very not in touch with what was going on. That was
or
tough.
her feelings. Yeah. I like this for Erica. Yeah. I like this version of her.
And I like how she was before it, but I don't. Yeah. So I like her a lot. She's always been one of my favorites. I have to say, there's moments with Garcelle that I don't like when she says like, just be more interesting. And I was like, fuck you. Like, and I think she was just joking. She was genuinely joking. She even actually, when I rewatched it, said that basically. She was like, well, you kind of led me there, which was like her kind of saying like, I made a joke, but like you gave me that joke. It's like, that's what we say when we make a joke that's inappropriate. It's like, well, you gave me the opening, right? Like, so I think that's sort of where she was going with it. But I also get why Garcelle took it seriously too. Anyway. So Andy then goes down a line of questioning about Tom Girardi. Why not divorce Tom? And she's like, basically, it's the lowest priority of my issues. And then she goes, and I don't know how that works to divorce an incompetent person. He was found incompetent in court, incompetent to stand trial. And I want to mention, like, there is a way to do it. So, like, I was just going to dig a little bit of a pivot. And I don't know if I actually made this a section or not segment. I don't think so. So you can't sign paperwork or consent if your right mind is not in action. So like if somebody's not like fully able to like make decisions for themselves and their well-being, they cannot sign paperwork or give consent. However, if that's the case, then that person also typically has a caregiver, and that caregiver can do that. And so it would be like a way of like finding who was named as like his caregiver or like as having rights to make decisions for him. So that's what I would say as a response to Erica's question.
It could be done.
Right? It's like helpful. And then the defense, because of that, though, because he was found incompetent, the defense is pushing for hospitalization instead of prison. And so Andy brought that up. And then he also said, do you think Tom is guilty? And Erica says, it doesn't really matter what I think. It's about the law, and that's where it lies. And I loved that answer. It was also very political because she can't say he's guilty because then it would look like she knew he was. It's like, even though that's not what it means actually, because she could just now think he's guilty. It's like if she says, yes, he's guilty, then people could be like, how long did you know he was guilty? Did you know that back when you were with him? Because then you should have known and like da-da-da-da. So I think she had to say exactly what she said, but I also thought it was a good answer.
Abso-frickin-lutely. I lost my place. Shit.
It's actually another Sutton's turn. I should have been like Sutton's turn part 2, because then it's about Sutton and Reba.
Turn part 2.
And you can do the next 2 because they're short.
Yeah, I really liked the visit with Reba. I was glad that happened. Erica compares Reba to her grandmother and says Reba has unresolved trauma. She absolutely does. Sutton said, I should try to put it in my mom's perspective because maybe she was scared. I've had a lot of problems still that I need to work out in my brain. Forgiving my dad will be really good, and forgiving my mom will be even better, which will hopefully roll into being a better friend. I know I need to grow, be better. I love that for Sutton, and I really think that there's some good there and there's some prickly points. And gosh, her mom is tough. Like,
yes.
And I thought that was a really lovely kind of closening of that relationship that was helped by Garcelle, a lot of Garcelle and a little Kyle.
Yes. Yeah.
Which was cool.
I felt like Reba was racist. I'm going to just say that.
Yes.
I thought she was very racist.
And that's why she liked Kyle so much more. It felt that way. Yeah.
Which also says a lot about Sutton. It's also very much like a Southern thing. Not that that makes it okay in any way, because it doesn't. But the context is, I mean, the idea, and it's worth mentioning, is like in the South, they're outwardly racist. And in the North, they think they're not racist, but they are. And like, which one's worse, right? Like, frankly, they're both terrible. Neither should happen. But the danger of being in the North and having that perspective is like, you don't know you're being hurtful, and like, and you think you're good, and you're not working on it, you know, because you think you're fine. So it's like something that we all should be working on for life. But yeah, so my sense of that was like, especially because Reed was a therapist, I was kind of like, "Arr." But I think Garcelle did her best to navigate it, and I agree, was a big part of helping it. Yeah.
And didn't complain or make it about her. And my God, could she have, in so many ways? Like, it's like a get out situation. Like,
yes.
Yeah. Oof. Then there was a recognition for Teddy, a former housewife. Andy asked how she's doing. She had brain cancer.
Yeah, she does. She still does. She has a number of brain tumors, a number of them, and they're spreading. They're like in her lungs too, I think, or something. So she has a number of brain tumors. They're spreading. She's in the middle of like going through surgeries. I think it's pretty bad. That's really, yeah.
And yeah, Kyle said she had a long road ahead of her. The other day we FaceTimed Erica, Bose. We FaceTimed like Kyle and Teddy, and Erica and Bose both reached out, and she thought that was sweet. That was nice of them to reach out.
Yeah, it was.
It's a hard thing. And then I think Andy asked Dorit, did you reach out? And then Dorit was like, I did something on Instagram so telling about how but when she's not in the thick of it, I feel like it's a better time to check on her. But yet you can do it on Instagram, and you're not going to reach out to her personally. I just thought, because that's something that I could like, a lot of the stuff they go through is so unrelatable that I can't think of, but like that is something that could happen in anyone's life. And if someone did that and didn't also reach out to the person, I would say that's fucked up. Like,
yeah. Just on Instagram and not reaching out in person, rough. I have to say too, what was ironic about that was that there was this whole thing last season, I think, where everyone's been hating on Teddy for a while now, just because for various reasons, and whatever, I like Teddy, she's fine. But the thing that was interesting last season was that everyone was like, don't you hate Teddy like Dorit? Like Dorit was like supposed to be hating Teddy like everyone else did, but she had actually like reposted a picture of Teddy on Instagram. And so everyone was like, why? Yeah. Like, why are you doing that? Because you hate her or whatever. And so I thought that was interesting that this time she was sort of like going harder on the like, I don't like her, I haven't checked in on her, you know, narrative, quote unquote, when it's like worst time to be like that. And also like, but she did still do something on Instagram, just like the issue last season. So it's just a really interesting like parallel / contradiction.
I do like about Kyle that despite like Teddy getting a lot of hate, I really respect that about her. She's been a great friend to Teddy and has not like given in to that. I think that's a big plus about Kyle.
Yeah. And she doesn't care that other people don't. Like, she's not like trying to convince anybody. She's just like, I'm still going to like her. You know, and I like that as well. Like, I like she's sort of very much like you, Dr. Ray, too. It's like, she's very much like, I'm going to have my own opinion about people, and I'm going to have my own friendships with people. And like, I don't care. Y'all can do what you want. And I really like that. Like,
I think you do that too.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It is one of those things like over time you learn. It's just like people have their opinions, they have their own experiences. And if we all just like do our own thing. The other thing that's nice about that is that means that we can talk openly about people with each other without worrying that you're changing someone's opinion, because you know that everyone has their own opinions. And it's like, it reminds me of Bose's thing from the beginning of last episode where she said like, it says more about you if you think I would have changed my opinion based on something Dorit told me. And it's true.
Right.
It's like, right. If we all just agree we're going to like who we like and it doesn't matter, we can dislike different people, we can like different people. It's like, that's great. Then now we can just be like open about it, not worry about it. It's great.
Totally. Yes. Yeah. It's an adult way to be, because everyone has different things based on their own shit that it gets in their craw.
Exactly. We all have our own experiences that are going to change how we feel just by nature. Okay, so I'll do like half of this and I'll pass it to you because it's quite long. So now it's Kyle's turn. Kyle, again, really. And again, Kyle's crystal pops out of her hand. And everyone's just sort of like wiling out about it. Well, I guess that's really...
Yeah, it was a little weird. It was like, I was like, God.
Yeah. It was
I drop shit all the time.
Yeah, it definitely... definitely was like, everyone's alarmed. Well, okay, so first of all, I just said whiling out, and I feel like that's Ave, so I'm just going to name that that's African-American vernacular English, and I would rather I hadn't said that, and it's something I'm going to work on and learn from. And then the second thing I was going to say was, I think Kyle's crystal, like, right, the idea is like, if you're holding or balancing a crystal, if it moves, that means something's up, like it's reacting to energy in the room. Yeah,
I see.
It's crystal stuff.
Got it.
Yeah, which I'm not a crystal person. So I don't know like the full thing about it, but I know that's part of it. And so like so every time Kyle's crystal moved or like popped out of her hand, it was like it was moving because she was feeling strong energy. Yeah. Yeah.
That makes sense. Because I was like, why is this a big deal right now? And okay, that makes so much more sense.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. And it happens so many times. So like every time it happened, everyone was like, oh my God, like Kyle, like, and you can tell that some people don't believe in it. And so they're sort of like, okay, Kyle, like, and then other people do. And they're like, like that's alarming. So like there was like different types of reactions happening, but everyone's reacting strongly. And then I think Kyle, what was interesting was she just started getting like flat-faced serious, like concerned when it was happening, which I thought was also interesting. She's definitely knowing what it means something for her. So then we're reminded that Kyle has dealt in the past with infidelity with Mauricio, and so it's going to come back to the fact that like Sutton brought that up, but at first we're just sort of like saying something about that, and Kyle's like, well, we're really close, we get together all the time, and then she starts crying at some point during this conversation, and she goes, well, I'm not crying because, and then she stops and she goes, listen, it's sad no matter what, and it's weird, you've been with somebody 30 years, we talk every day, we love each other, I feel sad for myself and for our kids, and that was really sad and heartfelt, and I thought that was important. A fan says through Andy that Kyle insisting that divorce will be different, and in my parentheses, I would say docile, is an example of her feeling like she's the exception to situations. And Kyle literally says, fuck off. I loved it.
I loved that.
Say fuck off. I love it. And she's right. Like she goes on to say, even if we get along, it's a mistake. People are assholes, It's sort of like, right, there is nothing she can do that's right. I will say she does seem to think there's a little bit something different for her. Like that does happen. I don't think that's like a thing about her though. I think that's just like she thinks this might be different for her because it's different for her. Everything is different for her because it is different for me. It's different, So like there is an air of that, but I think it's like well-founded because everything is different for everybody. So Erica says, yeah, you can't win. You can't win. So I liked this. It was like good affirmation for all reality TV stars. It's like, right, fuck the haters. Mm-hmm. Andy says,
and great for her.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. What a good growth.
She doesn't always do that. Like she's, I think a little more quiet. And I think that's why she's always been a fan favorite in a lot of ways, is she maybe sometimes placates to the fans. But I kind of liked that energy from her. Like, fuck off. Like, whatever.
Me too.
Moving on.
I loved it. Yeah. Because there were other fan things that she responded to, and I ended up cutting them out for interest of time, but I had to keep that one because it was just a great one. A great moment. Loved that she was saying it. Loved that she just said fuck off right on the reunion. It was fantastic. So then Andy says, well, last year you seemed angry. This year you seem sad. Do you have regrets about separating from him? This is like very careful what she goes on to say. So she says, I have regrets about letting, and then she goes, letting both of us get to this place. I wish that we communicated better when things started bubbling up. So obviously it gives the air that like there was something happening. Maybe she found out he was cheating, and she wishes she hadn't just gotten mad at him about it, which is like to me sad because it's like you absolutely should have. But I get it too. She's sort of saying like, right, that happened. Then I probably did something to get back at him, and then he was upset with what I did to get back at him, and it became a whole thing, which I do understand. So then he said, do you think Mo regrets it, or on some level wants to get back together? She says, I don't know, because he's never said that. And then she says, well, people all the time ask if it's a show, but it wasn't the show. Because by the way, people ask that because it's like a theme, like a running joke or myth or whatever, that like either it makes a marriage or ends a marriage to be on reality TV, which happens all the time. So people are asking that. She said, it's not that. She goes, this is the other thing I did quote because it's so important. She says like her understanding of why it ended. She says money, traveling, the fame, his business, the agency going, the attention he was getting from all of that. People saw it and they were like, oh, I want that. And they were throwing themselves at him. And we got married very young. He never got to go out and do his thing. And I think that really contributed to the downfall of our marriage, which is a huge deal. This is one of the things I wanted to say I would want people to know more about.
Yes.
Like, right, like, I think it's beautiful and enchanting and like sweet that people get married at a young age and stay together forever. I also think it does get hard to see other people go through phases like a 20-year-old phase, or like, which is really what Mauricio's doing. He's like acting like a 20-year-old because he never got to act like a 20-year-old, And so like to see people doing that, especially as someone with fame where you can have the best version of that. You can get all the money, you can go to all these places, get free shit, you got all these hot people and throwing themselves to, like, it would just be extremely hard hard not to have a phase like that and to watch people doing that. So I think I really get what she's saying. And I think it means that they only ever slept with each other. That's my guess. My guess is they never got to, not just he didn't get to do his thing, but like they never had sex with anyone else. They only had each other. And I think that's part of why it's also such a destroying thing to her, potentially.
I think they did, because I think she was married before him.
So how did they get married that young? What do you mean she didn't get to do his thing? He didn't get to do his thing then?
I don't know. I mean, maybe he just wasn't so
Is he
rich.
younger? Is he younger than her? Yeah.
That's a good question. I don't know if he's younger than her, but like my interpret, because I know that she was previously married, and her first daughter is not with Mauricio.
Oh, right. Oldest. Yeah, you're right. I knew that. Okay. Yeah. I knew that as well. Okay. So that makes sense. But so then maybe, okay. So Umansky is 54. And then we're going to look up Kyle Richards. And I
think she's younger. I think.
Yeah. No, she's older. Before. She's 2 years older. She's 56.
Wow. Mm-hmm. She looks good.
She does look good.
Good on you, Kyle.
Good on her.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah. They both look good. So she's older. So like that could be a relevant aspect. I mean, the idea though that she was married, she's only 2 years older, and he never got to go out and do his thing. I mean, I agree. I think there's the version of getting to go out and do your thing when you're famous and rich, but like that doesn't seem to be what she's saying, because it's like something about being married young, not about like, you know what I mean? It's not about like we did it when we weren't famous yet, or like what she could have said. She could have said like we did that a decade ago, you know, or like he didn't get to do it a decade ago when we weren't famous or whatever. So there's something else I think going on. Maybe he was like a little bit more sheltered or something, but it definitely is a choice. And I think, right, we got married very young, whatever that was. Even if they got married in their like late 20s, that's still not, you know, having his 30-year-old years and whatever. I don't know though, because she kept saying that. She was like, I would want to do what he's doing in my 30s. But she said I liked that in my 30s. So that means they did do that in their 30s. So like, I don't know, confusing. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
He's gotten hotter, I think. Like, not to be crass, but when I see pictures of them when they were younger, he's gotten like better looking, in my opinion.
He is definitely good looking as an older dude. I will also say, like, in general, we like valorize how men look when they age, and that makes sense because they're aging much better than, you know, as far as our culture is concerned, that they look like George Clooney, you know? Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, there's that. And then, he does look better. I also think she looks gorgeous just the same to me.
Oh, like,
too. She's just like you said, too. She's looking great, too.
She's consistently hot. But yeah, for him, maybe he's had a little bit of a glow up and doesn't know what to do with that or something. Not an
He definitely has had a glow up. He's also had a glow up just like based on what he does, right? Like his work and stuff, like taking off. And then I think the other point is like he was always like a really on the face of things. Seemed like he was always a very supportive husband. And I think that's sort of what she's saying too, that people see that and they want that. It's like they want how he treated her. And I think that feels like a betrayal for her too, because she's like, okay, great. So I wasn't supposed to show them how great he was to me because now he's going to leave me and do it for someone else. Like, that sucks.
Fuck. Yeah.
So then Andy asks, Dorit, were you surprised by PK and Mo partying with Kyle Cook? She says no. Kyle says, that's a turnoff. I like that in my 30s. And, you know, yeah, exactly. Andy ends up saying something to her like, right, like, it's not, you just, now you know you don't want that, right? So then he says, do you think about leaving the house? Kyle says, I was about to buy a house, but it was right across from Lisa Vanderpump. Kathy literally turns and goes, yeah, so good. Kathy turns and goes, why even mention it? Which I was like, so like interested in. I was like, okay, so Kathy doesn't like LVP. Let's start there. Clearly doesn't like Lisa Vanderpump. Is it like because Lisa left Beverly Hills and became famous on her own right, in her own right, which is what my guess is. And like, and all, I think there's like an interpersonal stuff too. But for Kathy, like, it's like she left Beverly Hills, got her own fame separately. Like, why give her any airtime? Like, she already has her own stuff. Like, she's fine. What do you think it is?
I think that Kathy, people always say Queen of Beverly Hills or whatever, and I think LVP is the real Queen of Beverly Hills. People have mentioned it about, she just has that like era and aura about her, and she's razor sharp. She's shady. She's charismatic. You want to be around her and be in her good graces. She's very queenly in a lot of ways. She's also done a lot of shitty things. I hate the way she's reified James over the years, and there's so many things. But like, I think if we're going to look at who's actually the like HBIC of Beverly Hills, it's not Kathy Hilton, it's Lisa Vanderpump. So I think that's probably what that is. That's my 2 cents.
Which I think is relevant as well. Like, that's sort of what I'm saying too, is like she left Beverly Hills and became bigger, right? And it's like, so I think the missing part for mine, because I think that you're right about that, is like, so therefore she's a threat to Kathy. I totally agree with that. But yeah, I think that it's like she left Beverly Hills and then got bigger than any of them on the show are. now, other than Kathy, because Kathy's a Hilton. But like otherwise though, like she like blew up, and not thanks to them, but thanks to them, it's like, because she got her start there and then she like took off and had her own thing. So I think that part would make it, it's like, why even give her any airtime? She gets enough of it, So yeah, I agree. I think we're on the same page about that too. It really makes sense to me. It was so funny. Such shade. I love it. So I'm just going to finish this page and then you can do the next part about, whoa, there's so much more. Okay, I'll go a little bit longer because then I'll do half of what we have here for Kyle. Okay, then Sutton. Okay, then Andy says, Sutton was not shy about Mo. And Garcelle, what did you think when she brought it up? Like, love it. Another opportunity for Garcelle to call it and say, I'm not going to support Sutton anymore, essentially. So she goes, I was shocked because no one's ever brought it up. I was like, good for you, Garcelle. Exactly. And again, it's like another sign. She's like, I'm not defending her anymore. So I was just going to say, in the recap, someone says, was there something that happened during the previous reunion? Okay, first let me say, Andy then right now in this time, real time says, last year you kind of alluded to something on the reunion. And so the recap from that was there something that happened? He says that to her. And Kyle said to us, issues come up. And then something did come up. Things I'd been putting up with just became more apparent to me. And I guess I just couldn't do that anymore. So right, to everyone that sounded like she was saying he cheated. I found out he cheated for real, not just because I thought so. And I couldn't do it anymore. It's pretty clear to me. So she says, yeah, to that. And then Andy says, well, so I was surprised you were acting obtuse about it on the show. Erica goes, obtuse? What a choice. Agree. Kyle says, I'm not here to talk about Mo. Yeah, right. I'm not here to talk about Mo. I don't like it when anyone does that about him. And I felt like that was intentional with Sutton that day. She said it was an accident. And she means like the show, not the reunion. Like she's not here to talk about Mo. She's not here on the show to talk about Mo. She's like, she said it was an accident though about Sutton. And then they bring up the photo at the airport. Did you know he was seeing someone? Kyle says, I didn't, but I assumed. And then she goes, I saw all his messages. And he's like, how? And Dorit goes, don't give it up. Don't tell anybody. Kyle makes a joke. Well, my day job is a detective, so. And then she says, well, I don't want to tell anyone my source so that men don't start putting their little things away, she says. By the way, love that, putting their little things away. I'm like 99% sure she means an iPad. She has an iPad where you had put iMessage on the iPad. She found it on the iPad and then kept using it to like see what he was doing. Which, by the way, rough.
Don't love
and also,
that.
Like,
kind of weird.
It's a lot.
I wouldn't
like,
do that, but
no, I mean, it's just like very much an invasion. I also feel like it says a lot that she wasn't over him, that she was reading that and not over him. It says a lot about what he was texting people. It was probably pretty nice, like not bad.
Oh,
no, I think not bad because she would. I think if it was really bad, she would have been like pissed, like ready to like throw shit right away and been like, get the fuck out. And also, I think the way that she keeps saying like we tell each other we love each other. He says he doesn't want to hurt me. Like it's like I think she knew he might have been seeing someone, but she didn't know like how bad it was, or like that's why she was surprised by the photo. Like so, I think he probably was actually pretty tame on text, which might have been meaning he knew she saw it, by the way. But she definitely was like, I think it showed how much she was just still so much in love with him for so long after it happened, which makes sense anyway. But I think it shows she wasn't angry because she also still felt like he was behaving, And I think she thought that meant they would get back together because she seemed to think that. So that's just my thought. Yeah, it is sad. So then Kathy says, oh, I loved how you said, somebody said that they saw you the other day. So it like shows that, and Kathy just outing Kyle like that, but shows that Kyle was lying to him and sort of saying like, I saw that someone told me they saw you, even though she knew he went there from the texts. And then Kyle makes sure to tell us, well, first she says, Mo was like, how does this woman know every fucking every crumb? And Kyle looks to the camera, sort of like looks around. She goes, and I do know every fucking crumb. Like, woo!
Whoa.
That was wild.
Woof.
That was so serious. She was so serious. And then she like pipes back up a little bit just to be like, whoa, we were separated at the time when I was saying those things. She's like, to be clear, like I wasn't saying that while we were dating. And because what is she protecting? She's protecting Mo when she says that. Because she's saying it wasn't that he was doing that while we were together. I said it because he was doing that after we were no longer together.
Right.
And then they bring up the Mykonos photo and the Aspen photo. She goes, I'm not angry. I was jarring at first, but I'm not angry. Sad, devastated, no. Kathy just goes to the side to Erica. She's not even jealous. And then Kyle goes, no, I'm not. I just feel like I'm looking at someone else. He apologized. He felt horrible. And he got a tongue lashing from the 4 other Kyles. Yeah. That's obviously the daughters, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was cute. And she goes, I want to move on in that aspect too. And I will be very soon. Whoa. So that to me sounds like she already has plans to come and do a hard launch or soft launch because, right? They're probably timing it. Yeah. They're probably timing it for after the reunion's over, after everything dissipates. Then we'll launch our relationship, which could very well be Morgan and might not be. And then that's the end of that. So why don't you do the next one?
And then I think Andy asks, is PK dating? Dorit, I have no idea. Do you know, to Kyle? And Kyle says, no, he's never told me anything. Would Mo tell you? I doubt it, but I haven't asked. He would tell you, Kathy said. And then Jay Tilly said, if anyone ever saw him dating, it would get out, which I think is a really good point.
Excellent.
And then Andy said, Sutton, you said last year the streets were talking about PK. What are they saying now? And Sutton goes, I don't listen to the streets anymore. And Kathy goes, what did that mean? I'm so confused. That was probably just a mistake.
That's Sutton. She's walking it back.
Oh.
She's like, I'm so confused. I thought it was probably just a mistake. Okay, I think very clearly she's talking about reading the comments, right? She's talking about reading the comment sections on Instagram and social media. So why walk that back? Like, why not just be like, whatever? But I was going to ask you, this is like one of those like food for thought questions. If you were a celebrity of that type, okay, and what would you do about the comments? Would you read them? Would you avoid them? Would you do a mix of them? Would you tell people what you were doing? Like, would you tell them I'm reading them or not? And that they hurt you, for example? What would you do?
I think at first I would read every comment. I think at first I would be all up in the comments. And then I think I would be like, you can't do this anymore. Your mental health is dwindling. You're like overthinking everything you do, and you do that anyway. So let's not put that on steroids. It's too much already.
Fodder. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then I'd probably stop or read them selectively if someone was like, you have to see this, or this was really nice, or can you believe this fuckface said that, like maybe every once in a while, but I'd probably stop because I think it would just be too much. But I would definitely do it at first. But
would you tell people that you were doing it? Would you tell people you were reading them and then not reading them, or one or the other?
That's a good question. I think it seems like it's a thing that you're not supposed to do as a celebrity. So maybe I wouldn't bring it up. But I think to my friends, I'd be like, oh, I totally read those comments. Like, I can't even, because I think it's probably funny, relatable content. But I don't know if I'd say it publicly. Yeah. I don't know. I can't like get a sense of how embarrassing it would be. It seems like it's implied that it's embarrassing when people do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's almost like I think people think if I tell people I'm reading them and they hurt, that people will be nicer. But I think it's the opposite. I think when you say I'm reading it and some of that really hurts, people get meaner, honestly. They're like, oh, good, they're listening. Because I think people like haters have this idea that like if I say something hurtful enough, it will get a reaction and then I can like put it on TMZ. Or like, it's like sort of like, oh, and then I get attention. Or like, because there's people who like brag about being blocked by certain celebrities. They're like, oh, so-and-so blocked me. It's like, okay, well, that's like, it's like, okay, that's like not a great thing because it shows that you were being a fucking dick. So like, and why? Like, why? Like, why make someone feel terrible about themselves? Why say things like kill yourself? Why say things like, death threats? It's just so egregious. And I think, so for that reason, I also would not tell anyone when I was reading them. I also would start out by reading them as well. And I would try to like remember there's like, there's going to be like two poles. There's going to be people who like totally agree and people who totally don't agree. And just like ride with that a little bit, try to, and then ideally stop reading them completely. And I agree about the idea. And when I stopped reading them, I would tell people I was not reading them so that they didn't think they were getting to me because they just don't even know because I'm not even reading them. I just don't even know what you said. And then I also think if I loved your point about like have someone else tell you about certain things. Like that's a great idea. It'd be like have an assistant who could like read through it. Because I would have to have an assistant do my social media. I don't know what the fuck. Right. You know what I mean? Like trying my best for this podcast, but I don't have my own. I don't know. I don't want my own anyway. But if I were in this position as a real housewife, you would have to have one. And so I feel like then I would have a social media person and that person could tell me if there are things I should know. Otherwise, don't tell me. And if it's particularly mean, don't tell me.
That's a really good point, though. Sutton probably was in the comments and probably spends some time there. I can see her personality, her kind of getting into that.
Big time. And then calling it the streets, which, by the way, racist.
Oh,
another racist thing. Yeah. And then, so like that feels racist. And then the other thing was her being like, oh, I'm confused. I don't know what you're talking about. It's probably just a mistake. It's like her wanting to deny that she was reading the comments. So it's like, now it's like clearly the comments. You know what I mean? Like it has to be. Because like otherwise, why would you not just say like, oh, I was talking about people that like talk about things online. I guess the same thing. But I was talking about people on Reddit or, she could have said any number of things. But I think even that is really like comments anyway. So whatever. I don't know.
Right.
Point being, she could have said, I overheard it at restaurants or something. If it was something else, she could have said it. So it clearly has to be comments, I think.
Yeah. Or one of our friends said it, which sounds a lot cooler than I read it online when it was 3 a.m. and I was up reading the comments. That doesn't sound very glamorous for a celebrity.
No.
Ugh.
You're right about the shame about it, right? And that is its own thing too. Like I was thinking about how people say they read it, then people comment more, and that sucks. But the other point is, you're right. People do kind of shame each other about it. Like you shouldn't read the comments, shouldn't do that. Like, and it is true, it's bad for your mental health, so that's why they shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But like, I think also people that are like, oh, you care too much what people think, or like, there's still that sort of like, also judginess of it.
Mm-hmm. Both ways.
Mm-hmm.
So, oof. And then Kyle was asked about her sexuality. So this is my socio-political moment. This whole thing was so fucking biphobic and homophobic and upsetting. It was all the things. Andy was very biphobic. He kept calling her a lesbian. I was like, why are you doing that? She's never said anything about her sexual orientation. And from we know, she's still in love with Mo and likes a woman. So why are you calling her a lesbian? Stop it.
Right. No, there were actually like 3 or 4 things he said where I was like, what? I was like, come on, bro. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah.
And then Kathy's internalized homophobia, I couldn't. It felt so, I'm just so sick of a certain generation of upper middle class white woman feigning acceptance, but being so judgy. Like, I'm okay with it. I talk to my daughters. Oh, congratulations. And like, stop to like, she was just awful. She was awful.
Is she Kathy? She's straight though, right? She's like outwardly straight. Is she
Kathy?
Okay.
Yes.
Because it's not internalized if she's not in the group. Like internalized means it's like about your own group. Yeah. No, you're totally fine. I was like, wait, is Kathy actually gay? Because that was the other thing that Andy said too. He was like, so you told them that you're questioning your sexuality?
Oh yeah.
And she was like, no. Yeah.
Yes. But I do think that Kathy, what she says, contributes heavily to Kyle's internalized biphobia.
Right.
And on top of
implicit, by the way,
else.
I know what you're saying. You're saying implicit. Her implicit, that's what it is. Yeah, her implicit homophobia contributes to the internalized homophobia of Kyle. Totally agree.
Yeah. You can just feel how hard she's fighting this in herself. And it makes me really sad.
Awful.
It's so sad. Sucks.
And she's trying to like get her own language out, and she's being trampled on by both Kathy and Andy. They're both talking over her. She's trying to just say something about her own identity. And it is slow. She's working on it. She has to work on it. That's what happens. You have to like figure out how to put it for the first 10 times you put it, So it's like, let her take her time.
Yeah, it's probably deeply like confusing for her. She probably didn't go to a feminist one. Like, I don't know if she went to college. I don't know what kind of education she had. For me, getting language around some of these issues in college and then grad school helped me to conceptualize how I felt about things and how I felt about my sexuality. If she has not had that, like, of course and then you have all these people saying subtly homophobic things, of course you're gonna have a hard time.
Yes. And internet, right? Internet era. Like, we're also from the internet era, like a little bit more than she is anyway. And therefore, like, if we had not gone to college, we could have learned a lot of that from the internet. But she's not in that era, so she's not on the like chat rooms or whatever. Like, we don't have chat rooms anymore, do we? Yeah. But like that kind of idea, like she's not in those spaces talking about it. So like it's same, right? Another way that she doesn't know the language yet.
Yeah, sucks.
And she even says questioning. So like that's what she's doing. She's questioning right now. She's finding out.
She's fucking around and finding out. And she said, but public scrutiny, or Andy said this, public scrutiny made you question and even talk to your daughters about it. Kathy laughs hard. It was so awful. Her uncomfortable, weird laugh. It was awful. And Kyle says it's a lot. Like trying to throw Kathy a bone, which was very nice of her. Kathy, it's a big pill to swallow. Laughs more. It was so bad.
So fucking bad. And so clearly a dynamic they're used to, because then Kyle says, let it out. Because she like knows that's what, she knows Kathy needs to let it out to get over it. And it's like too much. It's too much. Sit down and stop. Like, and it's not a big pill to swallow, like, frankly, but okay.
It's not a big deal. And then Kyle, that has never crossed my mind. She's like, really, you can tell this is painful for her, and she would rather not talk about this. And then Kathy said, you're sounding like me. I don't know what you're saying. So mean and just weird. And Kyle says, this is hard to say, and you laughing isn't making it easier. It's fucking awful.
So bad.
It did make me think maybe I didn't see it. Do you buy this? I don't know if I buy this narrative.
Can I tell you what I think it is? I think she thought it was funny. Like she started like hitting on Morgan, just like, but not realizing she's hitting on her. Like she's just sort of like interested in Morgan. She's like, oh, this person's cool. Like I want to hang out with them. And so then she's hanging out with Morgan. And then people start picking on them for like being into each other. And she's sort of like, oh my God, it's wild. I'm married. Like, what are you talking about? I'm straight as an arrow. Like I'm so straight. Why are people doing this? So then they do the music video because they think that she thinks she's straight and she thinks she's making fun of it. Like she's thinking she's making fun of the audience reactions. And so they do that with the music video. But then when they're filming the music video, because it is so deeply sexual, she's like feeding Morgan. They're like in these hot outfits. They're like taking video. So like that whole act of making that music video was extremely sexual and honestly looked very hot for her. Like it looked like it was fucking hot for both of them to make it. And so I think then when she made the video and then she saw it back and was like, well, actually, like that was kind of hot. Like, and like, I guess like maybe, you know, like maybe people are seeing something I didn't see because like I get it. Like maybe we are hot together. I think that's what happened. I think the music video was intended to be like making fun of it because she didn't believe it. And then the music video made her believe it. That's my theory. Yeah.
Maybe. I'm not sure. I need to sit on it more, I think.
You think she knew from get that she was bi or that she was questioning anyway, but you think she knew from right away that she was probably hitting on Morgan for a reason?
I think that maybe she on some level knew before the public I think that's an easy out to be like, I had no idea. And then the public said, and then I had an idea. I'm like,
Well, the music video was after a public outcry though. Like, okay. And I don't think she would have done the music video if it hadn't been if she hadn't been making fun of it. Like, I think she genuinely thought like, okay, you guys are crazy. Because like, otherwise why do that unless you want them to know? And that's the part where Garcelle keeps being like, well, you fed into it. It's like Kyle didn't want to feed into it. She thought she was making fun of it. You know, she thought that she was being like, okay, guys, like you think so, but we're not. Like, but then she was like, well, I kind of am. Like, you know, so, and then it became like an actual issue. And it's like, fuck, I did kind of lend to that because it's true now. Now I'm wondering. Yeah.
Now I'm wondering. Yeah. I can't tell. Like maybe Garcelle's narrative. I don't know. I'm having a hard time knowing the order of events.
No, it definitely was like, it came out because they were hitting on each other over Instagram. It was like public. Yeah. And so like, and they were like flirty. So people were already like, oh, okay, like what's going on with Morgan? And she was like, no, it's not like that at all. And I think it wasn't yet, you know? And I think they were, and you can see how Morgan treated her too a little bit. Like, I think Morgan was like kind of bro-y with her in like in a cute way, but like not sexual. Like it wouldn't necessarily be interpreted by Kyle as sexual at the time because she didn't understand that's like a style or whatever. So I think like at first when people were like, you guys are flirting, Kyle was kind of like, whatever, we're just like Instagram, like making jokes or whatever. I'm clearly married to a man, blah, blah, blah. Because she was still loving Mauricio at the time too. So I think there was like a part of her that was like, I'm being playful, but like it's just a woman. It's almost like she thought it was like a safe target, which is again like internalized homophobia. Yeah. Internalized homophobia where she was like, no, it's just Morgan, like whatever. So then when they did the video to make fun of it, so like, right, there was already all this talk about it. And then they did the video. And that's why they keep saying, that's why Garcelle says too, you fed into it. Because it was already happening. And so
it
like
was
the music
already
video,
there.
Right, yeah. So that's the timing anyway, if that's what you're saying. Is that what you were asking?
Yeah.
Or what did you, okay,
I don't know. I don't know what it is that I'm like, I guess I can't put my finger on it and I need to think about it a little more. Yeah. I just feel like the narrative of I had no idea and then the public told me it feels convenient for me in a way that I'm like, I think you had a little bit of an idea. But maybe she didn't.
That's fair. I think there's like on a biological level, there's no way she wasn't aware of something, right? Like, I mean, I think that's just like mostly how sexual identity works. Granted, sexual identity is fluid and it is possible she had no clue on it. Like, it's possible. Yeah. I think she probably has had like a little bit of like, but I've said this to you off, camera and mic before, like I actually believe that most women have had thoughts of being with women. Like I think that's just like how that goes because our culture is so pro women's bodies. And so I think that like it's hard for women not to have at some point wondered what it would be like to be with a woman. So I think there's that. But I think what she's saying here is like, I never questioned my sexuality before. Like that part of it was the part that was like, and maybe she like slept with someone in college or like made out with a woman here and there. Like, so I think she's saying like, I never thought that it was like that until this. Like, so like I think that part of it is like I think she knew something was up and like her body reacted a certain way and like she thought it was hot, but I think she would never have said I'm gonna look at whether I might be bi or gay. And then when people were like, maybe you're bi, and she realized like maybe it's not the worst thing ever to say I'm bi, like maybe I should like look at that, like maybe I think that's the part that shifted, was like she realized that like there is language for this, there's a way to do this even if you've been with a man for all these years. Like that's the other thing that happens with the internalized homophobia is like I'm married to a man so I can't be bi. It's like, no, that's not true, right? Like, so I could see her having gone through all of those years of marriage being like, I don't get to say that. Even though I'm interested in women, I don't get to say that I'm bi because I've been with a man. And I hate that narrative, by the way, but that's happens. So I could see her being like, I still can't even right now say I'm bi because I'm with a man. Right. Like, so it's like, so then when she goes through the video and people like really blow up about it and they're like, you're great with Morgan. Like, why aren't you guys living together? Like, you should be bi. Like, maybe you're bi. Then she might've been like, wait, I'm allowed to say that even? Like, so then that could have been like the thing that like jump started another kind of conversation about it for her. So it's more about the labeling, I think, that is like the part. Yeah.
The feelings for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like the label, no, the labeling of her identity is what I'm saying. The feelings I think were there. I think she has like biological feelings for women, or like has for a long time. But I think the like labeling it is the part where she's saying that started because people were talking about it.
Right. Like the labeling of the feelings kind of thing. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. But then like even labeling of the feelings could be like, I like having sex with women sometimes. And it doesn't mean that you would necessarily identify as bi. Like, you know how I don't know if you've heard that distinction before, but that's been said or whatever. But like, yeah, it's like labeling of the identity part more than the feelings. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Well, but I hope you'll keep thinking about it and let me know what you think, because I am interested in what you are hitting on there. Like, up against. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't quite tell for sure, but I will keep noodling on it to say.
Fabulous.
But then Kathy was, it did make me think maybe I didn't see it. So there was that. And then it was a proud moment for me and my daughters, which was so sweet. I wanted them to always be proud of me. It was a very uncomfortable, hard conversation to have. And I don't want them to be embarrassed, which is so sad. Like that. I know. And for the kids, I'm sure it's a big change to think of their mom this way. And it's, they're from a different generation and they're like, whatever.
Like, get it, mom. Go for it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
Do your thing. And then Kathy said, I talked to my girls about it and they're like, Mom, it's 20.
And she trails off. Well, no, this is important because she trails off and never says the year. And so to me, it's like, right, she could have forgotten the year. To me, it's like, that's not what they said. You know what I mean? Like, because if they said, Mom, it's 2024, she would have just said, Mom, it's 2024, in my opinion. But she had to think about when it happened so she could get the right year. And because she couldn't think about when to say, she just sort of was like 20. And then because she can't say 2025 because it wasn't filming yet. I mean, it was already done filming or like whatever. You know what I mean? So I think she was trying to like figure out how to finish that sentence. And then Andy interrupted her. But to me, I was like, I don't think that's quite the conversation you had. Like, I think she heard about the conversation the cousins had. I don't think they were like, you know what I mean? I was sort of understanding it that way, but it was sort of interesting the way I felt like she was rewriting it a little bit.
Yeah, rewriting the history. Yeah. And then I kind of liked, but I didn't like that he said lesbian, but I liked that he was making fun of her a little bit. You told your girls you may be a lesbian too. And then Kyle, no, I didn't say as in, I never said I'm a lesbian, sir. Yep. Like, please stop putting that on me. I never said that. And then Kathy said, no, when the cousins talked about Kyle, they said, who cares? And then Kyle said, well, anyway. And that was a clear sign to Kathy, like, I want to move on. Yeah. And then Kathy says, just to make you feel better. And Kyle said, I know, thank you. Like, she's trying to give that to her. And it's just, she doesn't want to get in a thing with Kathy. She's just trying to move on. And then Andy said, happy to know Paris and Nikki.
I'm going to hop in just for a quick second. This is like such a psych thing because it's like their relational script. Like, this is the shit they do at home. It clearly is like Kyle knows the first thing is to show Kathy, I'm annoyed with you right now. And then if Kathy tries to say like, no, I'm doing this, then the next thing to try is like, thank you, I understand, let me finish. And then if that doesn't work, then it's going to be something else, which we'll see in a second. But I wanted to say something here because when Kathy goes, did I say the wrong thing? She says, she's kind of like almost scolding her. Did you notice that she was sort of like, did I say the wrong thing? Like, you can tell me, but you should tell me, it's like that kind of thing. I was just sort of like, oh, this sounds tough. I don't like how that must go for Kyle, like every time. Yeah.
No. And I just don't think Kathy gets it. And I don't think she really wants to get it. And it's part of her like lovable persona,
Shtick.
But
I know.
And I liked Andy here. Happy to know Paris and Nikki accept, which is like, you're being a horrible ally right now. And frankly, Andy, you weren't being the best ally either, but thank you for stepping in because someone needed to step in for poor Kyle over here. Oh my God. And then Kyle says, just let me speak to this, please. I love you, but I need you to let only me speak to this. And then Kathy says, okay, I'm sorry, you're right. I'm trying to help you. And Kyle says, I don't want any help on this. And Kathy says, okay, which
finally worked.
Whew. So many
like
ways.
4 different attempts. Yeah.
And Kathy just could not get it, which sucks. It's just sad. But Kyle said, yeah, so it was a hard thing to talk about. They were all really supportive, but Portia came over and put her arms around me and said, nothing would make me not love you. But it's like, are they having these same conversations with Mauricio, who's like, you know, hooking up with, it's like, I'm glad that for them it's not about the gender, but, you know, but it's, I don't know. It's just annoying that Mauricio isn't getting the same conversations, or maybe he is. I don't know.
I think he probably is. They have a really good relationship with him, but I hear you too. I think we wouldn't see it if they were having that conversation though, because he's not the one on the show. But they might be. If we watch his show, the like selling Beverly Hills or some shit, then we'd be able to tell. Yeah. When I watch them on there, it's like really clear the girls love him, like love him. Aww. Like they're really close. Yeah, it's sweet. Yeah. I want to also say, like, she says that, and like, right, by the way, first of all, that is a common statement, like that people will say nothing would make me not love you, which is an amazing statement, and it absolutely should be what's said. But then fucking Andy was like, well, that's exactly what my parents said when I came out. It's like, first of all, it's like, not only are you like assuming she was coming out, which she wasn't saying she had any labels, but like, but also like, that to me was such a like shitty thing to do, to be like, well, that's what mine said, like to compare it to his coming out story, which like, I feel both ways. Like, I love this. My husband asked me about it very openly. He's like, what do you make of that? I was like, thank you for asking, because I have several thoughts. One is like, I think that we do have our like thing that happens within the community where we all are sort of like, what's your coming out story? What's your coming out? Right. And actually it should say disclosure rather than coming out, because there's like all these things with that. But their disclosure story, it's like, what was yours? What's mine? So like, there is that. I totally get that. But that's not this moment. You know what I mean? It's like, this is not the moment where we're going to compare our disclosure stories, especially because she doesn't think of it the same way as you do. And like, this is a big deal that she's saying this happened. You know what I mean? It's like, for her, that was like big. And so, right, it was big for you too. It was also a long time ago for you. And so like, this just isn't the moment to like take it into yours. And I just like, I felt like he even defended having said it too, like to compare it to himself. And I just wanted to be like, let her have this, you know? It's like, just let her have this moment. It's like, obviously a lot of us can relate to that specific statement, but like, just let her have it, you know?
And because it is so different. She is exploring her sexuality. He said, Mom and Dad, I'm gay, which was probably also a very complicated moment for him. And it's also reinforces the idea of him saying like, oh, Kyle's a lesbian now, which is not what she's saying. That. Which is just exactly. Yeah.
It's like, again, making a comparison about like, so therefore you're gay and you came in and you disclosed your identity. It's like, nope, neither of those things are true. And also like, it was again him cutting her off. He cut her off too. So like between Kathy and Andy cutting her off, she was just like, let me fucking talk.
Yes. Yeah. And it's a great, actually, I didn't think about this until right now, but it's a great example of the way bi folks get invalidated by straight people and gay people all the fucking time.
Exactly. Double marginalization. Exactly.
It sucks. Oh. And then Kyle said, I'm not coming out. I'm questioning. And then he said, but it's a similar story. And Kyle said, she just moves on. But a 16-year-old saying that, it gives me the freedom to do whatever I want to do and not worry about them, which is really sweet.
Right. Which was also her defending against him too, though, which I liked. I liked that she was like, she wasn't moving on per se. Like she was sort of saying like, but this is different. Like this was a 16-year-old, you know, which I liked. I liked that she defended herself. She was like, not the same guy. Like you had your parents. That's different. Like this is my 16-year-old telling me that. And that's like, and then, it gives me the freedom to move around, which was really nice. Yeah.
It's, totally different. And then he says, I'm happy for you and to see where your journey and life take you. I hope he rewatches this and like reflects on himself, because I think he would want to do better and he just didn't in that moment.
Me too. I think he noticed when she was like, but she's 16. Like, I think he noticed sort of like, okay, stop. Like, because he did sort of like but he definitely did it in the like, okay, well, I'm happy for you and I'm happy to see where your journey goes. Like sort of being like, okay, I get it. I'm not allowed to have a moment right now. I was like, no, you're not. Like, correct.
Correct. You are misattuning to her in so many ways. And then Kyle says, thank you. Me too.
That was really sweet. I love the way she said it. She's like, me too. I was like, go get it. That feels very Morgan prone, I have to say. And maybe it's not Morgan, maybe it's someone else, but I have to say, I think there's some fun things for her and her horizon of exploring. I love it. Andy's, for his closing, asks everyone, what was the most surprising, good, bad, deep, or shallow? Jay Tilly says how much footage they shoot when they actually only use, whatever. She said, you could probably put together 3 seasons with what was filmed. He was like, well, good idea. Wow. Kathy said, I had a great time. What was the question? And then she goes, well, nothing surprised me. I always have a good time when we travel. This was interesting. Kyle goes, oh, to be a friend of. And I was feeling like that's kind of shady because Kathy was, I think, a full-blown castmate at one point sort of recently too, and then went back to being friend of. Yeah, so she's sort of like demoted. So like kind of rough. But what was interesting to me, I was like, I noticed that Garcelle's face was really stern during that moment. And I think it was like, I realized after a second, it was like first when Kathy said, I love our two new additions. So then I was like, oh, like, like at first I was like, what is she? Is it the friend of thing? I was like, oh no, it's like she's thinking about Bose. Like, so like Kathy being like, I love our 2 new additions. She's like, I want to love her, but she doesn't like me. Like, I don't get it. Everyone loves Bose. Everyone loves Bose. This might be what she's thinking. Because she's now at this point sort of like, why are we not good? And then Erica says, I don't have a surprise, but I feel good. They moved right along. That was all we needed. Bo says, well, there was not a damn thing I was not surprised by. But more so, I think the depth of emotion, how deeply they care about each other, which is what makes it so dramatic. At this point, Garcelle is literally checking out her gloves. She was like looking at the sequins in her gloves while Bose is talking. So again, this is like very clear that she's not happy with Bose. Then Dorit says, I think I found a friend for life. Getting to know Bose and having her in my life, da-da-da. If you look at that moment, Garcelle's face is extremely smug. Like, she's just sort of like, like, get it. But I think it, again, shows that she feels betrayed by Bose. And also by Bose particularly being with Dorit, of all people, but by Bose in general from tonight as well. Garcelle says that she's surprised in a good way about seeing more about Sutton and her mom. I think that was really revealing in a lot of ways. Subtext. Now I know why Sutton's like that. Sutton says, I think this is awful. I feel so bad for Garcelle about this. Sutton goes, I think I was most surprised that Erica and I got along so well. And I hope that these conversations continue. And Erica says, they will, yeah. Garcelle is clearly upset. So understandably, because Erica was one who came for both of them and said, why aren't you saying more about your life? Your lives are boring. And so to have Sutton then be like, I'm just glad that Erica and I are close. I can imagine Garcelle being like, okay, listen, you were already putting Kyle above me. You were so glad Kyle was paying attention to you. Clearly it's because Kyle's been here forever and like she has this other class associated with her. Well, Erica has also been here much longer than Garcelle. So for Sutton to then be like, well, also Erica, I want to make sure she's happy and I want to make sure we're good. When like also very much Erica came for Garcelle and Sutton. I can see Garcelle being like, okay, great. So now it's going to be, I know Kyle and Erica. So like that to me is like a huge moment because she's realizing like, why am I here? Like even my like ally is like so obsessed with everyone else. Like one thing when it's Kyle, but it's also fucking Erica. Like I'm not doing it.
I'm done. Yep.
So very upset. Kyle says, myself in some of these moments last year, I found myself surprised by my own behavior, not recognizing myself. And the positive surprise is that I feel like really strong now. So she's saying it's not, not positive that she didn't recognize herself in some of that. Jay Tilly, Andy goes, I know you have a good toast in there. Cheers to another fabulous season, he says. I'm excited to wear right. They did the toast. The toast was like something I've heard a bunch of times before, but like there's all these different kinds of ships and blah, 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 but friendship is the most important one. So then Andy goes, cheers to another fabulous season. I'm excited to see where this group goes next. I'm Andy Cohen. Good night. And then he goes, guess what? We're going to do a house photo. Garcelle goes, I'm out. I'm not doing it. And then Andy goes, what, for real? And Garcelle says, nope, I'm not doing it. And then Dorit, the last person who should be saying anything at all, goes, Garcelle, that's not cool. Garcelle goes, okay, I don't want to be in the cast photo. And then Dorit, as Garcelle is leaving, Dorit says, Garcelle, that's really unprofessional. Garcelle, she says. And unprofessional is such a whitewashy term. And it's a way of white people deciding what everybody should be acting like and dressing like in a certain setting because it's not professional if you wear a sweatshirt or like it's not professional. So like it's used as a way of white people policing black people in the workplace, in the schools, wherever else. So the fact she said that word, I was like, oh no, like that's so racist, so bad. Like, and Garcelle had already moved out of the space as far as we can tell, but we don't know that. It's possible she heard it and she said something, they could cut it out. I mean, it just was so bad. I was like, wow, Dorit of all people shouldn't be saying anything, but if she's going to say anything, it certainly should not be that. No. So then Jay Tilly says we can put a cutout, which like she's trying to like relieve the tension a little bit, but like again, it's like, no, that's objectifying Garcelle. So like, no, thank you.
Right.
And then Andy says she was the one who said that we should take a cast photo. And they cut back to Garcelle saying, like, we should take a cast photo this year. Right. That was before this reunion went absolutely haywire in every single way we've already talked about. It cuts to Garcelle in her dressing room saying to the camera, guys, I'm not doing this anymore. I don't want cameras here. I'm done. To her own glam squad, we hear her say, I never say I don't want cameras. I'm a team player, but there's no team here. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not. right? Like this is again like making it really clear that we know from Garcelle herself that like no one has her back anymore. She does no reason to like try to work this out. Like it would have been one thing if there was another woman of color and they could work together to be like, look at this racism and be like, look, Sutton, you need to do this better. Like, look, Dorit, you need to do this better. I could see her even after Dorit and Bose became friends that at least she might have thought, well, at least Bose can like tell her to like do better and like point out when she's being racist because Bose does point things out. But like Bose isn't even doing that. We don't see it, you know? So it's like, so for Garcelle, it's like the only other thing that could have saved this for me was like if there was another person of color and we could have worked together and we're not even friends. She doesn't even care. So it's like, oh man, that is so tough. So then Kyle says, then we cut back to where the photo would have happened. And Kyle says she didn't even have any drama this season. Rude, dismissive, fucked up. Andy asks Sutton, also hate it, says what's going on. And Sutton goes, I don't know. She's really unhappy. She's smiling as she's saying this out loud. She's smiling. She says she's really unhappy. It's like she just loves being able to get the attention and being able to speak for Bose. Hate it. I mean, not Bose, for Garcelle. Bose is the next person who speaks, though. Bose says she's really unhappy, like personally. And Sutton goes, I'm not sure. And then she goes, let me think. Like just holding the attention, like soaking it up. Like if I have to think, you have to wait and watch me. Like you have to now look at me as I'm thinking about what Garcelle might not be happy about. What could she be unhappy about in her personal life? I wouldn't know because I don't listen. When Garcelle speaks to me, I think about myself. We're cutting to Garcelle in the dressing room. She goes, they're all fucking assholes. No one said, oh, I understand what you're saying. Anything. And the fact I own the situation about the house, everybody jumped on me. And I feel like I'm on an island by myself. I don't trust them. And they obviously don't like me. So then Sutton, we go back to Sutton. Sutton says in this little group, it feels unfair, meaning that's what Garcelle feels. Bose goes, what's unfair? Sutton, while fucking whispering, goes, I don't really understand it. Like, again, so this is her being like, I'm trying to speak for Garcelle, but like, let me tell you, I actually feel what you feel. I agree. It's very confusing. Like, she just loves the attention, but like also being like, speaking for Garcelle is like so bad anyway, but then she's loving that she's doing it. And then she's also like, but don't worry, I agree with you guys. Like, the worst ally on this planet ever. The worst. Kyle says, this is child's play, what she went through. Rude as fuck. She says, people aren't exactly smiling. We're not going to a birthday party today. Rude as fuck. Still not understanding it. Still not trying to understand it. Still not even fucking giving it a second to like breathe. Trying to talk to Garcelle. Nothing. They're all talking to each other, just whispering and gossiping. So then it cuts one last time to Garcelle in the dressing room. And as she's leaving, she says, I'm done. It's been a great ride, but I'm done. They're fucking assholes. And she's fucking right. They are fucking assholes. They've been awful to her the whole time. They're worse than ever during this reunion. So then the last scene ever, not shocking, Sutton walks up to the dressing room where Garcelle would have been in her dressing room. And she goes, she left? And then she goes, what in the world? She's gone. Like as if she's shocked. It's like, dude, she literally said I'm out. Like, and of course she's gone. Like you have not cared one iota. You didn't even try to talk to her right after it happened. You literally stayed and spoke for her and loved it and relished in it. And she goes, she's gone. And then she goes, we're supposed to have supper. The selfishness of this bitch. Like, I'm sorry, like whatever, maybe not that word, but like because of the sexism related to it, but the selfishness of this person, the selfishness, the pure actual selfishness of it. I was like, it got worse. She was like, we're supposed to have supper. Like, whatever. That's not the point.
Dare
like,
you? Is she okay? I need to find her and check in on her. We're supposed to have supper.
I can't do it. I'm so appalled. I was so appalled. Again, it's like, I'm not surprised, right? Like we know that Sutton is not a good ally. Of course we understand that. And also the degree of her selfishness and how this went down to me was so grotesque. And instead, the way the producers, and this is the other issue I have, so this is what the producers would have done differently for me, is not be so fucking racist. Like the way they handled this, they made it look like Garcelle was unhinged. Like, how could she be angry? There's nothing to be angry about here. Like, what is it? We don't know why she left. They show Andy being like, what? They show like other women being like, I don't get it. Even Sutton being like, I don't understand it either. Like, and then they show Sutton being like, whoa, she left. Whoa. Like, and that's how they end it. Like, racist, so racist. And they're also not choosing to show these like little micro moments that are like so clear. Like I'm seeing them because I was thinking about it really like as I was watching it and then rewatched it as well. Like, but like if you don't, like they're not making that clear. Like that was not clear. I don't think most people understood the piece about Bose at all, by the way. But then even the like other stuff that was a clearer, that was like the racism, the implicit racism, the racism that has happened the whole season, like the whole years, all over the years, I should say, during the whole series, that kind of stuff is a little bit clearer and people get that. But like they should have been so clear in these micro moments that like, oh wow, look what we're doing here. Like, look what's happening. Look what's missing. Right. Like, so I also know one of the things that Garcelle said at one point was all skin folk are not kinfolk. And at the time, people thought she was talking about Anna Marie, who was on the show last season, because she has come out as a Trump supporter.
Whoa.
Which is a lot.
That's a
lot.
And wow.
Rachel from The Bachelor thinks it's like to get more publicity, which because that obviously is working because everyone's like, whoa, like, so I think that's possible. But yeah, so that's what they were talking about at the time when Garcelle wrote that tweet, was like that was what was happening. So I think everyone thought that. I thought that. I was like, that makes sense. Like, definitely not her kinfolk, because she's clearly not going to be a Trump supporter. Now that I saw the reunion and like really thought about it more, I was like, she's clearly talking about Bose. Like clearly talking about Bose. She's saying she's not going to have my back, even though she should, because she's black. And frankly, fair. And like, I think also probably people said to Garcelle, like, just because she's black doesn't mean she has to get along with you. Also true. That's fair. And I also think, no, I think she really should have tried to help. Like, I think it was like a fair thing to expect that, frankly, to want to be able to like both of us work together. I would want, like, if I was working in like a group with like all men and a woman came into the group with me, I would expect that we're going to work together to fight sexism.
Absolutely.
Especially someone like Bose, who is so aware of racism. You know, it's like, right. So I feel like, yeah. So I get the assumption, and I also get like she's right. Like all kinfolk aren't kinfolk, but like I wish Bose were. I wish that had gone well together. It's just so sad. I love Garcelle. I'm so sad she's gone from the show.
She really adds a lot to the show, and I think your analysis of this whole situation is spot on.
Thank you so much.
And yeah, it's really eye-opening. It makes me want to rewatch the reunion because damn.
Yeah,
I really so feel for Garcelle. Yeah.
That's so sad. Yeah, the moment about accountability, when she says I took accountability, I was like, yeah, now there's no question. Like, now we definitely know that's what it is. There were other moments where I was like, this feels really relevant. But like, once that happened, I was like, okay, done. Like, that's what it is. It has to be. And then like, it never really changes. So yeah, thank you so much. I'm glad that you also like that theory. It's just such a bummer, you know, because I was thinking the same thing when Bose came in. I was like, great, like now Garcelle won't be the only one. You and I have talked about this, like talk about something we've mentioned before in previous episodes of the show. We've said like, what a bummer for Garcelle that she's facing all this racism and that she has to be quiet about it so she's not seen as an angry black woman. Like,
right.
You know, it's like so awful. It's so awful that she literally feels like she cannot say anything about any of this. It's so bad. So like with Bose, ideally they can say it to each other, right? Like maybe she can't say it to somebody in person, which I wish she could, absolutely should be able to, but can't. I understand that. But then maybe at least with Bose in the aftermath, they could talk about it and talk about the racism. And that would have been great. That would have been great for everybody, not just for Garcelle. That would have been great for all of us to learn from, you know?
And if, let's, I like your theory about Bose coming in to make Dorit look better.
Yeah.
What if Garcelle was given the same directive for Sutton? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe not.
Oh yeah. Definitely could have been. Yeah, because that was right after the stuff with Crystal about how racist she was with Crystal.
And then it's like, damn, we're putting a positive stamp and I have to do extra labor for these problematic white women. And now I'm seeing the ramifications of that because Bose is, maybe not. It's just a fucked up system that is maybe designed to pit people of color against each other. And that's fucked up.
Right. Yeah, definitely could be that too. Definitely. That's a great point too. It's like maybe they were intentionally supposed to be pitted against each other. I could also see that they like would have been fine with them working together too. Like I do think they like facilitated them getting together. And I think they would have been fine with that as well because it makes them look good. That they have like good, women of color talking to each other about things and bringing it up. Because I think that's the point with Sutton too. And I also thought that the Garcelle was purposely put with Sutton. And I think that might be part of why she feels betrayed by it. Is like, I'm trying my best. I was told I should do this. Like I'm doing my best and Sutton's been trying, but she sucks. Like, so I think that's possible. But like I also think if that's the case too, that like then also all they're doing is like saying like we don't want what happened to New York to happen to Beverly Hills. Like because New York there was like so much racism and there were no people of color and it was like all white people saying racist shit. And so it's like sort of like feeding a little bit of diversity into it to prevent that from happening again in Beverly Hills. So like there's also that way that they're using women of color too. They're using women of color in multiple ways. And I also think though, again, like they could have been pitting them against each other or not. Either way, it doesn't matter. They're using them, you know?
Yeah. I guess maybe even the pitting against each other is subtle as like Garcelle was then implicitly not pitted against Crystal, but put in a position where she's defending the person who microaggressed Crystal.
She's making her seem fine. Yeah.
Yeah. And then if Bose is doing that to Dorit, that's, I guess, going to create tension between them maybe that could be resolved or could go one of a couple ways. But
yeah. Which also, right, like could have been something that actually didn't happen with Garcelle, like maybe let's say Garcelle comes in, she's told to like help Sutton, but she knows that that's what she's being told to do. So she also talks to Crystal off camera and is like, hey, I get it. Like there is some fucking racism here. I hear you. Thank you for trying. Like, because that's the other piece that I said off mic is like ultimately like Garcelle must feel like betrayed by Bose because she laid the groundwork for Bose to have the experience she's having, and Bose has had such a positive reception. And so for Garcelle, she's like, what the fuck? Like, you know, it's like I worked so hard on this, like making this like this, and then you're just going to abandon me after you have a good reaction to you. Like now you feel like you don't even need me anymore. You don't need to work with me anymore because you're already having a good reaction to you. So like there's that piece. But yeah, I was imagining like maybe she was able to say to Crystal, like, I'm not actually coming for you at all. Because she didn't. We never saw them fight ever. Like, so like that might have been a choice that she made with Crystal. So then she assumed Bose would do the same thing. And so like then when Bose didn't, she was sort of like, wait, like I get that you're being told to be with Dorit, but you could at least also still not be a dick to me because that's like obviously not your, you know, like it's not your choice to be with Dorit, but like at least don't do that because I didn't just, you know, to Crystal. So.
Yeah. Ugh. That sucks.
That does.
Just shitty on multiple levels.
Yeah, it's so shitty. I think really like do better, Bravo. Like honestly, like I think both should have been brought in for Garcelle. Like that's what I thought they were going to be doing at first. And then when I saw that scene in the fucking at the party when like literally you could hear that a producer was saying wait to Dorit to stay back so she could keep talking. Like Garcelle came up to Bose and Dorit, and Garcelle and Bose almost started talking, like they were talking and they were about to like dig into it, and then Dorit started to leave and the producer was like Dorit, and then next thing we know she's talking with them still. So it's like they so clearly like there was such a moment that could have happened there and that would have been much better. Like and frankly Dorit and Bose still could have ended up being friends to an extent, you know, but like they shouldn't have been given the same exact story arc as Garcelle and Sutton of like now everyone hates that they're friends and like blah, 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 blah. It's like no, just like let Bose be friends with multiple people.
Yeah, Bose can be friends with whoever she wants and can be friends with multiple people. It does not have to be one or the other. And like, yeah. And who knows, maybe there's like 20 scenes with her and Garcelle that just weren't filmed, which was which weren't aired, which was a choice by producers too, which sucks.
That too. Yeah, exactly. That too. Because the scenes they did show between the two of them were so great and I loved them. And I commented them as they happened. Like I was like, I love that. That's so great. I want them to have each other's backs. Because like it takes all of us working together. You know what I mean? And it truly, truly does. So it's fucked. But what a joy. Like what a joy to go there with these women, like and learn from them and learn about them and also learn about like bad allyship, what that looks like.
Yep.
Thank you.
We saw it very clearly.
Yeah. Thanks so much for that. Sutton. Oh, by the way, oh my gosh, you know what I was just thinking about that? It's like that's the other thing that's different. Is like Dorit does have Bose's back. Like absolutely.
That's true.
And Sutton does not have Garcelle's. Yeah. So that's kind of like also like what the fuck? Like at least we should both have our white like allies, you know?
Right.
It's like I don't
who have our backs.
Right. Yeah. And for how racist Dorit has been, she's still better than Sutton at this. What the fuck? Like, you know, it's like, damn, I picked the wrong one or whatever. You know, that's wild. Yeah.
Seriously.
That is so wild. But yeah, fuck them. So thank you all, women of Beverly Hills. We are loving seeing you in shows and learning from you and also learning what not to do, as I said. But if you all would like to see more of us, like the full video, if you're not watching the full video already, that's on patreon.com/realitytest with a capital R&T. You can also do like @realitytest in the search bar. You can also do Instagram, and that's going to be at Dr. Ray Pods and at Dr. K Pods, or on TikTok at dr.dr.realitv, REALITV. And we're also on YouTube and Facebook at Reality Test Pod with an @ symbol for YouTube to get to our channel. Last but not least, we are also on email at Gmail at realitycheckpodding, PODDING @gmail.com.
Indeed. And rate, review, subscribe, and tell all your friends.
Please do. Come hang out.
Yes. And we'll see you next session.
Bye.